Good afternoon. The title of my presentation is a bit cryptic. It's InvestigAction, and is about a tool, a protocol we prepared 1 year ago about for helping to building up the culture of safety in the oil and gas industry. These are the outline. First, I presented the reasons why we did this work, the objective, the approach we choose, the architecture, the protocol itself, and the way we see the use of the protocol within the safety management processes, and we sketched the role of the investigators. Let's see the reason. We work with the SAIPEM. SAIPEM is a big worldwide company active on drilling. It's divided in two main business units. One is onshore and another is offshore. They have people from which a lot of different countries. The main problems they have is the communication between management and workers. They speak different languages, different cultures. And the main accident they have depends mostly on the communication. And also from different cultural tradition of the people. They started out some years ago a very successful program, training program. It's called Leadership in Health and Safety. Based on this program, they start out a foundation which has the same name, LIHS. And the first action of this foundation was to have a common structure for study and investigate accidents in order to develop the safety culture and the new tool for safety management. The investigation, every accident, they may happen whichever part of the world, from Arabia, Nigeria, and so on, is investigated by the government agencies of that country. But they are also investigated by internal investigators, and in order to understand what happened. But what the process they are using is very different. It is very different from part to part, from country to country, from person to person, and they produce a not consistent output. Above all, not compatible. There are many lessons that they cannot use. Furthermore, there is a lack of spontaneous report. A lot of accidents are considered, and they have no report at all about near misses. As a consequence, it is difficult for them to generate a remedial action, corrective action, and to have a set of, material for training people. Both that can impact on the organization and the behavior of the people. To overcome these problems, they decided to develop an investigation protocol customized for SAIPEM. They used a kind of protocol It is a well-known US-based protocol, but it's difficult to be used by people from Saipem. The objective of this work was to have a tool and methodology for analysis and diagnosis the adverse event, aiming at improving safety. So it is far away from the main topic of this meeting. So we are not interested at all in establishing who is responsible. We are interested in knowing by which conditions, on the condition that provocate the accident, in order to understand how to design work to change the condition so the accident could not hopefully happen again. The approach we use. We know that there is an evolution of the concept of safety in organization. Usually, safety is means to prevent undesirable states take place. Instead, nowadays, it means that the ability of a system to address, to cope with undesirable states. We know that in a risky situation, it's impossible to prevent any whatsoever undesirable states. It's intrinsically risky situation, like in drilling oil and gas. We do not pretend to reduce to zero the accident. What we stress is the importance of the organization to face the undesirable state, not to prevent. The organization should be able to cope with a situation and to cope with the uncertainty, accidents, breakdown, and to able to maintain in a safe state the system itself. So we are not looking at a responsible or particular accident. We are looking at the condition which give rise to the accidents in order to understand how to prepare the organization to cope with this kind of situation. We have two key principles. The first is to shift the focus of investigation from search of guilty persons, and to make it a learning opportunity for the system. And second principle is to understand the condition of a diverse event. That is, the factors that create the condition for an accident or near miss. It's particularly important in this strategy not to learn only from accident, but mostly from near misses, which is a case that could produce an accident, but people are able to overcome the situation in order to correct it in phase, in order not to have an accident. This analysis allows us to provide cases of good solution of the situation. The question we are following, there are three mainly. There were defenses. People were protected from the accident, from doing an accident. If there were, how and why they failed, and what can be done to prevent a recurrence in other accidents at the same time. We adopted a combination of two views. One is the organizational view. I'll say error and violation are not only human errors, but they are socially organized, produced and reproduced by social structures within organization and between organization. from the error, the accident we analyzed before starting the work, the most of complicated accidents happened because it was a clash between organizations, between SIPE and subcontractor, between subcontractor, and so on. And so it is a clear and organizational problem. The human error nature is fallible, but we can change the condition which people work. And the other view is the cognitive view, how people think, how people behave. People are fallible, but are able to correct the error. Why they are doing error? They capture weak signals to handle the unexpected. The humans have a great capacity to correct themselves. And understanding the cognitive factors that lead people to make errors allows to distinguish the different type of error and to identify the preventive and corrective measure most appropriate for any type of error and increasing system reliability. Let's say the investigation protocol have two main components following the two views. One is the taxonomy of human errors. That is to understand the cognitive factor that lead people into error and codify the type of error. The scope is error detection and correction in phase, when, while is making. And the other components is organization latent condition. So identify the latent factors, let's say defenses, barriers, procedures, controls, and so on, that make the scenario accident-prone. The scope for this is the organizational resilience, to prepare the organization to be able to cope with uncertainty. The tool itself is a tool and a methodology of analysis and diagnosis, interpretation of the adverse event. The scope is to find food for improving the work safety condition. It is a tool in that we identify what to investigate, so the fact, the data, information, documents to collect, the context where it happened, the cognitive factors, the human's behavior and so on, and organizational conditions. And it is a methodology, how to investigate, how to conduct inspections, how to make interviews. It is a crucial point because people that is from different cultures. There are Muslims together with Christians. There are people from Indonesia with people working with people from Europe or Italy. How to interpret the represented data collected, how to diagnose, and how to identify the key learning lesson for the system. This is the main point. We want a tool that allows us to identify lessons, to spread, to communicate to the organization. It's a structure as a sequence of action, of activities. Each activity has a form and the guidelines. We have 6 activities. The event management. When an event take place, it has to be, communicate to the center. It has to be reported. Then the investigation team is formed, make the analysis, the interpretation, and what is important is the diagnosis. It analyzes all the events, be accidents or near misses, as a source of a learning opportunity for the improvement of the safety organization. Emphasizes the systemic and organizational view of the adverse event, moving away from blame culture. We do not look for the killer. We look for killing. And defines the investigation roles, responsibility in activity in a clear, transparent, uniform way. We have to say that people in the organization which is in charge for safety is a third party. So it's quite independent for the business unit. For organizationally, is say, distinguished by the business unit. Because the business unit have different priorities. Safety is not their main priorities. For them is profit, productivity, and so on. The investigation protocol also promotes collaboration among the others, the actors, especially with the witnesses and the workers on the site, that very often are very frightened and tend not to tell what they know. It's a culture lot different from that you find in ATM and so on. What is important is to find effective implementation of improvement actions. It's consistent with the strategies adopted in the safety improvement, and what is important is a tool for communicating and training of safety culture. I say the protocol is a part of a process. We have the prevention, we have investigation, we have the safety improvement, and learning and communication. We are talking about investigation today, but we are taking consideration that there is a part of the entire process. The work we have done is about the protocol itself. Now we are working on investigators with people who apply this kind of protocol. And it's a very difficult role. It is needed to give them credibility because, let's say, for the company, the importance is given by the product, by money, not by the safety. So you have to build a credible role and allow them to, let's say, negotiate, to contract, to have a strong personality to negotiate with other people in the company. And it takes a long time to build up these persons. It's needed in ad hoc training. Thank you.